Hey, everybody, I am really excited because I am bringing you an interview with a fellow handbag enthusiast, YouTuber, and now inventor and creator who has made something that I think all of us will need. So let me bring her in right now. This is Alyssa with the Gals Guide. Welcome, Alyssa.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I am super pumped because Alyssa has come up with an invention that I think literally all of us need. It's totally genius. And you and I kind of became friends online. I don't know, I don't even know how I found your channel, but let me bring up Alyssa's channel real quick. Alyssa does really amazing reviews, and you do also you do videos about your handbag collection. You have so many videos, and you have such a great collection of contemporary and luxury handbags. So that's how I found you. And we're going to be talking about your channel. We'll be looking into Alyssa's origin story because you've just, I don't know. I'm so excited for you, first of all. So Alyssa, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how you got into YouTube, and a little bit about your love for handbags.
Awesome. Yeah, so I started YouTube in 2020, which no surprise there, it was COVID times, and it was just awful. Like everything was so depressing, and I thought I was going to be unemployed at the time. So I thought to myself, I need something to do. I need to like actually put my time and attention into something positive that I can do from home. So I also, because I thought I was going to be unemployed, I decided to go back to school to like put my time towards that. So a little bit about me, I have my bachelor's in psychology and I have my master's in organizational leadership. And so I did that through 2020, 2021. But when I started my channel in 2020, it was just purely out of wanting a hobby, wanting to do something fun. And I had been collecting handbags since probably 2015. So when I first got my first handbag in 2015, it was a Louis Vuitton like bowling style bag. And I got it on eBay for like $300. And I was so excited. And that just really started my love for handbags at a luxury level. I would say when I was little, my mom used to always take me to the Coach store or the Coach outlet, and I just kind of was like falling in love with bags just by osmosis of being around them because my mom was so into them. And I think she's still into handbags now, but probably not as crazy as I am. But so I did start in 2020 and I've been doing it ever since. And I genuinely cannot believe how many people out there love handbags. This community is so uplifting, so kind. And I just can't believe I'm here now. So I actually had a blog when I would write about handbags. And then I started doing the YouTube thing, which was very uncomfortable for me, like being on camera and all of that, just like talking to yourself and getting used to that. And then now, years later, I decided to invent a product, which I don't even know how that happened, to be honest. I'm still catching up.
All right. So first of all, I gotta ask, do you have any idea how many handbags you have? Like, what do
Yes.
you do?
I've
You actually
counted.
know?
Yeah, I'm probably like over 60, which I would like to not keep growing. Like I would like to not hit 100 ever. I think that would be astronomical. Just in my opinion, if you have 100 bags, great. However, I think I'm at a good spot where I keep buying and selling to kind of flip so that things aren't just sitting on my shelf. But yeah, between totes, travel bags, clutches, top handle bags, crossbodies, I'm definitely at like at least 65, I would say.
I feel like that's a manageable number. And you obviously
Yeah.
have kind of your shelf of bags behind you, so people can
Yeah.
see. You have such an amazing collection, and I don't even know how I found your channel, but I did, and I was like, I like this girl. She seems cool, and I think I left a couple comments or something on your video. I'm not even sure. Tell us, how did you think of handbag heels? Like, were you like, oh my gosh, because I have a bag right here and it does not have feet. And I think that's a
Yes.
very common gripe for a lot of us is we're like, okay, I love that bag, but it doesn't have feet. So it's a deal
Yeah,
breaker. So is that kind of
absolutely.
how handbag heels came to be?
So after reviewing bags all the time, so I'm probably at like at least 300 handbag reviews out there, just based on like talking about them in different variations. It came to the point where it was like, man, I'm always taking off a point every time I'm saying like, what would I rate this bag if they don't have feet on them? And I prefer having feet because I think it elevates the bag and I think it just helps it stand up straight. in addition to that, if you're ever somewhere, the worst thing is being at a restaurant and your chair is rounded and you can't hang your bag on the hook. And then the table space is too small to put it like on the table or next to you. And you just never want to put it on the ground. If you've ever been like, you just never know what's going to be on the ground. It could be anything. So feet are really important to me, and I prioritize bags that do have feet. And it was something that I thought to myself, why don't we have them? So I started doing research into like adding them myself just from like wherever. And I ended up finding some that you could drill them into the bottom of the bag, which for me, I'm not super crafty. And that made me very nervous to have to physically like buy a kit and like drill into it, which I know that you are a great sewer, and I totally applaud you for that. I cannot sew for the life of me. So like your channel is amazing to watch to teach me, but like I don't have that skill set. So that was one of the things that I was like, oh no, I cannot do this. So I just kept thinking like, why isn't there anything magnetic or sticky or something that won't hurt the bottom of the bag? So I do have a bag here, which I would have probably never purchased if I did not have Handbag Heels. So this is the Coach Lana 23. For those of you handbag lovers out here, it is a newer bag to Coach. And I have my handbag heels on her right now. They're not perfectly straight because I did not prepare for this. But this is the handbag heels, how they look on the bag. So they're on all four corners and they are magnetic. And then this is the color nude, and it matches the ivory shade from Coach. So if I didn't have if I didn't have handbag heels on the bottom of this, I don't think I would want to use this bag because I'd be too nervous about the ivory color getting dirty or something. So that is kind of how I thought of it. And then I just started doing research from there.
All right. So when you first told me that you came up with this, I was like, this has to exist already, right? Is that kind of what you were thinking? Were you looking up to see if somebody else had invented it or if there was like a patent on it? Like how? I have so many questions about actually going from, a lot of us have ideas. We're like, oh my gosh, this would be great. But then the execution is the hard part. So, I know there's a lot, there would be a ton to get into, but can you kind of briefly summarize what all steps you had to take to get from idea to physical product, which by the way, I just got these in the mail today. So I'm very excited to try out the round heels.
I love those. Those are our best seller. So to get to that point, I literally ended up just buying magnets off of Amazon and was like, oh, I'll just try it, see if it works on my bag. And it kind of did, but it kind of didn't. Like it wasn't strong enough to hold. And these were just like regular, look up a magnet, just like a basic magnet. And it was there. Like the idea was there, but it wasn't solid. I wanted to make sure that if I was putting something on my bag, it wasn't going to damage it. That's very important, especially because, these bags aren't cheap and I choose to invest my money in bags just because I love them so much, just because they bring me joy. And I would be devastated if I damaged it. So I ended up searching magnets a bunch of different places, trying them on the bag. And then I ended up calling different magnet companies to understand the strength level, to say like, okay, this is the material I needed to hold through. Can you tell me like what kind of strength I would need? And so I ended up just calling around different places, different companies, just through Google, and asking the questions of how I could basically design from scratch a magnet that would work through different materials, whether it's leather or what have you. And all of that research kind of got me to the direction like it can be done. I just have to find all the people that are doing the things with the correct strength, with the products that I have in my mind. And it just became networking, calling, asking. And finally, I got to the point where, okay, I can start like getting manufacturers and like comparing prices and all of that. So also, I'm very fortunate. My boyfriend has a few successful businesses. So he has done the manufacturing thing and I was able to kind of pick his brain. And he is definitely a partner in this business, which is so wonderful because A, it's expensive, and B, it's really nice to have someone supporting the vision and that can say, okay, well, realistically and logistically, you can do this, but you can't do that. Like just based on his experience. Also, my parents are business owners, so they have a little bit of a different space, so it's not exactly the same. But there's been a lot of support of people helping me with kind of the how are you going to make this work and actually get the product and make sure that it's a product that people will actually want to keep buying, essentially, like rather than just I'm going to buy magnets, slap them together, and put them on your bag. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
no,
saying?
you're the handbag heels. Here, I'll show them to you right now. They're obviously made of it seems like the heel itself is metal and it has your logo like etched into it. And it
Yep.
has like a nice metallic finish. So I mean, this was definitely a custom manufactured item. Is that hard to do? Like I have no idea.
It takes time to go back and forth with drawings. And so then, like, the logo needs to be a certain format to make sure that they can actually do it. So there were a few. So that piece is actually a totally separate manufacturer than the second piece in the interior.
Wow.
So it just ended up being sending drawings back and forth and then them showing me a sample, which was great because a lot of manufacturers, you don't realize, like, they also want to sell this too. And like, even if they don't have the product you're looking for, they have the means to do it. So yes, it was developing a mold, giving them my logo, them sending me back like, okay, this is what this is going to look like. And then me giving feedback. And then they also had like kind of, different color variations that I could choose from. And then I wanted to see them actually done because, of course, the colors, like if you think of a paint swatch, it's kind of like on the paper, but you can't really see it on the wall. So there was just a lot of back and forth, a lot of prototypes of testing out as well. So I did get of this product. So I have them here as well. These are the square gold ones. So I did get a prototype of the molded magnet and that just didn't have the logo on it. And then after I saw the color and I was like, okay, I like this, then they went back and did the logoing. So that was super cool. And then getting the logo on the card was another thing. Just so many different elements to, in my mind, the design was really important. And I have this tendency to want things to be perfect. So almost launching took a little bit longer than I would have anticipated. But
Well,
every single part, like the packaging, the tissue paper, the box, everything has a separate manufacturer. So
wow. From kind of the time you had the idea to product launch, how long did it take to get all of this together?
great question. So the moment that I thought I could actually do this was December of 2023. And by January of 2024, I had gotten an LLC. So it was actually January 24 of 2024 that I got an LLC through LegalZoom. If you haven't heard of it, it's you can go online, you can learn all about like all the things through LegalZoom. They do a lot of different things. And I got the LLC and the day I was approved, I almost cried because it was so exciting that like you can literally say you have a business and you can do what you will with that business. And it took some time to be comfortable with the fact that there was nobody telling me what to do, like from a boss perspective, like, okay, I am the boss, like I have to
Yeah,
do
it's
something.
pretty nice, right?
Yeah, it's weird when you have, I have a corporate position and I love it. I love working, but I'm always looking for someone to say, okay, do XYZ. So here I have a lot of creativity. So in January, I started getting the prototypes and things of that nature. So from January to, let's say, what are we in? March, the end of March is when I had gotten everything to my liking. And then I started getting all the products in.
That actually seems faster than what I would guess. Like that's
Right?
you move fast. Now, so when you're ordering from manufacturers, this is just my perception. Do you have to order mass quantities, like like some crazy amount, or can you order in can you get these made in smaller batches, or do you kind of have to get like a billion of them or something?
That's a great question. So you don't have to. You can get smaller batches, but it actually is more cost effective to get it in larger. So I'll give you a perfect example. What did I buy? Oh, I got these cards from a local vendor. So the cards that come inside, of course, I don't have it with me right now, but it's a card and it comes inside your box and it has the care instructions and it says thank you on it. So I actually made that in Canva and then I wanted to have them in my boxes. And I went to this local print shop and I said, okay, how much is it going to be per card? And the more that I bought, the better it was. So I actually ended up getting 4,000 of them. And I think it's like 8 to 10 cents per card. But if I had gotten 2,000, it would have been like 12 cents per card. So that really was helpful in asking them like, hey, what can you do? And I'm willing to buy more. I'll keep buying from you depending on the price that you can give me.
And that's also a good example of why larger corporations can sometimes get their products to a cheaper cost to customers, is because they can afford to do it in like mass quantities. All right, I want to bring up the Gals Guide Shop website because, okay, let me share the shop. So this is the galsguideshop.com. By the way, I'm going to link all of Alyssa's information in the description box, but you have quite a few varieties, which I imagine probably took some time and investment in order to get all of the, you have several colors, you have 2 different styles, you've got like all of this stuff going on. So I think it's really like, I was really impressed because you told me like last week about this. I did not know any of this until last week. And then I went to your website and I was like, she has so much, like, like I was expecting maybe like 2 different items, but you've got like 8. And that's a lot to me. So you have different finishes, you've got like matte black, you've got cream. So even from the get-go, you have quite a lot of variety for the product already. And most, like I would guess most businesses probably wouldn't. So that's pretty impressive. So kudos. Like I'm just so, I looked at the website, I was like, this looks so good.
Thank you
and
so
I think the price is pretty in line. A lot of people are spending thousands of dollars on handbag. I think the price seems very in line with this type of customer, in my opinion. Plus, every purchase comes, just not sponsored, with a really cute jelly handbag. So I think a lot of people are gonna start collecting these. And they're cute. Like you can use them as photo props. You could give these to kids, you could gift these. I think it's a really cute, and by the way, I have an unboxing here on this channel if you want to check out the product, but the packaging is all on point. I think the logo is bomb. Like I think everything looks perfect. Like, so it's pretty obvious you spent a lot of time just to get everything right. And by the way, this feels like a very nice quality product. Like I've ordered stuff from Amazon before and I'm like, oh, yikes. But like these feel very solid. It's not plastic. It feels, it just feels very nice. So I think, it's really obvious you spent a lot of time and attention to the details and to the quality, and that can't be easy. So
it was not. I would honestly have gotten more variations if I had the funds to do so. I want like every single color out there. And in the comment section, I've been getting, oh, do you have brass? And I'm like, oh, I want brass now. So I'm trying to move as quickly as I can to, well, firstly, I was making sure people wanted the product, which was great. And I'm really glad you spoke to the price point. I'll tell you, I have bought $40 stickers for my Louis Vuitton Pochette Matisse, like $40 for a clear sticker.
And it cost them like 2 cents or something. Like,
right? Like I thought to myself, I cannot like have that as my product. Like I would never want someone to be like, I bought something that was so astronomically, ridiculously priced for what it is. So I tried to be really thoughtful about how much would I want to spend, what would be reasonable. And I'm so glad you showed the little bag. Those were so fun to pick out and I wanted so many colors.
Oh yeah, I've got and by the way, I'll show you guys. I put it in my backdrop here. So I've got the pink one kind of next to, I've got the pink one right here. So people can
I'm going to grab the yellow one really quick.
Yes.
And maybe we can cut this out.
So yes, so we've got Alyssa with the Gals Guide blog. She is an inventor and creator of the Handbag Heels, which are an amazing new product. So all right, and Alyssa has the yellow jelly bag. Ooh,
here it is. So I just love this. This is daffodil yellow, and they do come with a little chain. So I'll show you. The chain will come wrapped, but you can put the chain like on the bag, or you don't have to have the chain, and they're just like a cute change purse kind of thing. But I have actually used this like as a little wallet with like a lipstick. I'm also giving one to my niece. They make great little gifts. If you have a daughter, like I think that would be wonderful. So I just wanted to make sure that every single package felt like you were unboxing a handbag. So your heels will come inside. So I'll show you just for an example. I have the black heels right here. These are the black round kitten heels. Hopefully you can see them. And then they'll come inside your little purse, and then they come inside of a box, which you get to unbox, and hopefully you have a really great experience with it. So I really hope that you like this product if you try it.
In the box, it really is a very nice, if you're looking for something for the gram, guys, this is it. I already posted, and mine got like 2,000 Instagram reel views. So people
great.
like, yeah, the unboxing experience is definitely there. Okay, so I got to ask, you have set in the right now as we're shooting this, it's been a little under a week since you launched the product. How are things going so far? Like, what kind of feedback have you gotten from people?
Yeah, so firstly, day one, the launch, I had anticipated, I said to myself and to my boyfriend, I was like, I don't think we'll get more than 15 sales day one. We'll just see how it goes. We'll see if people like it. And we hit 65 sales day one. And I don't think we were fully prepared for the volume. So we package and ship them all ourselves. It's something that I really enjoy doing. I love tying each and every bow on the box and making sure it's packed with love. And we were just so over the moon excited. Some people were buying like 3, 4, 5 at a time. And we actually had to figure out a different box because I wasn't anticipating people to buy so many in multiples that we had to go to the store and get new boxes to fit the other boxes into. So that was definitely a challenge that we were able to work through. And I think we'll have shifts in our shipping and different ways that we can do that to make it even better. I'm actually thinking about getting the same box that we have, but a bigger size, that like magnetic opening, so we can fit more in one and have that experience as well. But right now, if you buy multiple, you get an individual box with pretty much every 2 that you purchase. So we had that. And after day 3, we hit our first 100 sales, which is just crazy. Like, you don't even realize how much you can have an impact, and to see people actually liking a product before they even get it was exciting. And now that they're getting them, I'm getting so many comments, so many pieces of feedback, people sending me photos of them on their bags. And that is so rewarding to see that people actually want to use it and they want to share it with other people. So there are some Facebook groups that I'm in that I've seen customers share in Facebook groups, which is so wonderful. And I appreciate every single piece of feedback, every comment, every like, every share is just so amazing. So it's been going really well. Sales are coming in hot, which is great. And I definitely have 0 complaints, and I want to keep making sure I can stay on top of the volume.
I am so excited for you. Now, I kind of see you kind of branching out and making this kind of into a larger business where you sell maybe different products and expand the handbag heels. What do you have goals for the Gals Guide shop? What would be like your, like kind of ultimate dream if you had one?
I love that. I would say I definitely want handbag heels to be the focal point of the Gals Guide shop. I think moving forward, I would like to add other things that I like for my handbags. However, I want them to be different than what's already out there. So I poll my YouTube channel a lot, and I'll say like, hey, do you use bag charms? Do you keep your bag in a dust bag? Like, what are the things that you like? And the reviews are very mixed, and sometimes I completely disagree with the majority. So I'm trying to think through things that I would really like that I think other people would also find valuable. So there's also so many trends that happen with the handbag community too, that I love to dress up my bag, but I might not want to dress up my bag in 5 years. Like, I remember those big puff balls from Fendi were really big, and now they're back in style. So I really want there to be things that are going to have longevity rather than trend. So I think there's more to come in things for handbags, but I also would love to have like merchandise, like clothes, different things that might be cool. But then in the back of my mind, like just as I am a new business owner, I have this kind of, well, why would somebody want to buy that from you? I don't know if you've ever experienced that in your journey, but it's real. You know, you don't know what you can do until you do it. So with this, I never dreamed that people would buy them in mass quantities like this. So it's
12.
just
I
one of
know the
those
one lady's like, I bought 12. And I was like, that is so many.
she really did. Yeah. So it's just about doing it and then, you know, seeing how it goes, kind of just going with the flow. So I would love to see the Gals Guide have multiple things that are in alignment with the community. I just don't know what that looks like yet. I don't know what the possibilities even are.
I feel like you're going to come up with more ideas. I really do. And
Yeah.
you had told me you're currently in the process of going through some trademark and patent journey. So obviously you want to protect your intellectual property. Is that, how's that going right now?
It's definitely overwhelming because you even get comments or family members would be like, oh, I hope you patented that. And it's like, I'm working on it. It's happening. And as soon as you do it, it feels really good. But there's definitely a lot of steps. There's a lot of processes that have to take place in order to get both. So luckily, my boyfriend is helping with the trademark side. I'm taking the patent side so we can kind of balance both, which is great. And I think it will turn out well. It's just having every single detail. Like for a patent, you literally have to draw it out, the design, the measurements, all of those pieces that, as I said, I'm not super creative. So that was another challenge, but it's going really well. I'm excited.
I also want to talk about your journey as a content creator, because right now you're doing this all like kind of as a side hustle because you have like a regular job. So are there plans, like if Handbag Heels becomes like really big, is that something you want to focus on kind of full time? Like what are you thinking right now?
Yeah, I love working. I love putting my mind towards a passion project. So I do have a corporate job. I work in kind of like planning, event planning, HR kind of things, and I love it. I love helping people. I love improving their lives at work. So for that, I think I would love to continue to do that. However, my heart is definitely here. I sit in this very room and I review my handbags, and just talking about them, just holding bags and being able to kind of express my gratitude for having a bag brings me so much joy that I want to be able to prioritize more time towards doing that, because I also watch hours and hours of YouTube videos myself whenever I'm looking for anything, especially handbags. And they're so helpful that I love to be able to help people in that way. So it's definitely something that if this did take off, if we were to be sitting here making really great money, that I would be able to kind of sustain myself, there's mortgages and all of those things, then I would absolutely love to do this full time. And I definitely admire the people who have gotten to that point that can be able to do that and work for themselves and have that flexibility. But also, it's a lot of work to put your time and energy into your own business, being your own boss and having that self-regulation to do it. So it's definitely something I would love to do. I do record probably 2 to 3 times a week, and then I post 2 times a week. And then I have obviously all this shipping to do now, which I do overnight pretty much. I haven't been sleeping a whole lot, but I definitely have more plans to move forward with a lot of these things.
I've noticed a lot of these vlogs that are sort of getting a lot of traction are like those, day in the life of a small business. Maybe you could do like videos of you shipping like packaging all the stuff, or like chat with me while I pack orders. I don't know. And I want to bring up your channel too, because I just want to point out that a lot of, I think, people who want to do YouTube or social media, they kind of have this misconception that you need to have a gazillion subscribers in order to do it full time. I actually went full time with YouTube when I only had about 8,000 subscribers. And coincidentally, that's kind of where you are now. But I just want to point out that you don't need to have millions of followers in order to make this like a business or generate like a full-time income, you like, if Handbag Heels sells really well, you're not going to need like 100,000 followers or 1 million subscribers in order to do this full time. So it is very possible to do content creation full time. I think if you're using it to promote like your own business, which is kind of what you're doing right now with Handbag Heels. So just some inspiration out there for the folks at home. You don't necessarily need to have a huge following. If you're using social media to promote a product or like a service, something like that, which I think is really smart on your part, because you came up with like an actual product, and it's a product that I think a lot of people are going to want.
I really appreciate you saying that. And I cannot believe that I'm selling a product. I think it's scary. So I can come on here and talk about bags that I haven't created, and it almost has this sense of safety. But once you start putting your heart and soul out there of this is the product that I've spent so many hours developing, there's a different level, there's a different feeling really that you get when you start doing that, and the time that it takes, all of that you do have to compensate yourself for those things. So I'm starting to get more comfortable with that. I love the fact that you said that, because I just reached 8,000 subscribers, which I'm so grateful for. And the community is huge, which is so great. There are so many people that really love handbags. And I think the more you can focus on the bags and also having additional things to have an income, I think it's definitely something you could do full time. Even if I were to stop now, I probably would still need a little bit more income to pay my mortgage and things, but I could sustain myself a little bit. But it is so flexible. So YouTube, you don't always make the same amount every month. It fluctuates based on views and all of that. So that's where having that added layer of security comes in. So I definitely applaud you for doing that, because for me, I don't know if I'm there yet, if that makes sense.
No, totally. So I got to ask, what are some things you've learned along the way from developing a product? I'm sure you've probably learned a ton, but what are some of the big takeaways you could give to someone who might also be interested in pursuing that same type of journey?
Yeah, I would say number one is networking. So we're sitting here because we were able to connect, and not being afraid to reach out to people virtually, picking up the phone and calling different vendors was huge. But being able to make sure that you are talking yourself up as well, but building those connections was really important to make sure that you can A, get good prices, B, to also help market your product as well. And also, you're going to have relationships that you have this kind of mutual reciprocity and appreciation for each other. So for example, Jen and I, we have very similar vibes, if you will. Like, we have the same drive to do certain things, and we have an appreciation for what we do because we have that similarity. So I would say what I've been learning too is just to not be afraid to put yourself out there, because you'll find a lot of people that will want to help you because they have been where you are. And I would not be able to be here without the people that have supported me. So that's number one for sure. Number two is you can create anything that you want. And I'm going to say it, like, if you can come up with it in your head, I know it sounds cliche, it can happen and it can be manifested, truthfully. I think that was where I had the idea and I thought, oh, like, that's cool, but how am I going to actually do it? And sometimes things just fall into place where you have the right conversations and you get to the point where, wow, I can actually see it, taste it, touch it, and it is so surreal. So if you have an idea and you have that drive or that poking, just keep moving forward with it. I think what I've learned is to overcome that fear of, oh, well, you can't do this, or all of the reasons why things will come up that are trying to keep you back from actually doing it. I think that's something that I've definitely learned. And then last but certainly not least, I would say the way that you communicate your product is very important as well. And I think I learned very clear communication in my corporate job, but I'm seeing how I need to put that into focus in my new endeavor here. So for example, these magnets are very, very strong. So when you take them off of the card, they could jump together. And I wanted to make sure that that was clear. And I still need to make sure that that's clear. So communicating the little details of your product is actually going to help you make sure that people know what it is that you're selling as well. I think having it in front of me and using it, like I've been packaging these myself with my hands all day, every day. So it's just second nature to me. Whereas someone getting it is like, oh, how do I apply these? So really getting into the weeds and into the details is really going to help you if it is something that you are coming up with from scratch.
That's awesome. And so the people in your life, like your friends and your family, what was their reaction when you told them that you would like invented and made a product? Were they like, what the heck? Like,
Yeah, I actually told my parents as we were in production because I didn't want I don't know, their questions before I was ready to answer their questions. And so I remember we were having dinner and I was like, okay, so I have some news. And they immediately were like, oh boy, like, what are you about to tell us? And I said, I invented a product. And I think it took them a minute to really understand what I was saying. And I had to show them the prototype. And I think they didn't fully get it at first. Again, like my parents aren't they don't do handbags or anything
they're
like
not
that.
in the handbag community.
Yeah. Yeah. So they have a food business. Like they understood the concept and they were so excited that I wanted to start a business. But it took some time to really get them to go, wow, you actually like really did this. So I actually just had them here. We had an assembly line of packaging things up together and they were like, wow, I cannot believe that this is happening and you're doing this and like this is going to blow up. And my friends were just kind of taken back of, wow, I can't believe, like, it's not something I've ever talked about doing. It's just something that it came to me and it just started happening. Like as I started taking little bits of action each day and it just ended up coming together. But everybody has been very surprised and it's still surreal as we are day 5 right now that I've been in business here. It's definitely still a shock to me.
I think the takeaway too, sometimes it's a good idea to keep things close to the vest, especially
Mhm.
when because then people will try to talk you out of it. They'll be like,
Yeah.
well, like they'll give you a million reasons why that wouldn't work or whatever. And then, they kind of psych you out of something. So I think that was actually kind of smart to
Yeah.
kind of wait until you were further along. And then you can just be like, I already did it. Like I've
Yep.
kind of noticed that too. So that's so awesome. And I'm so excited to see where you go. Like, I feel like this interview 10 years from now, you're going to be like sitting in some sort of corner penthouse or something, doing interviews with CNBC as like a billionaire, like the Spanx lady. And then I'll be like, I knew her back then.
Aw, we're both going to be there together. You are so talented and I'm so grateful to know you. And I'm so grateful that we were even able to do this. This is the first interview I've ever done. So I am just
And this
so
is not going to be
excited.
the last. I hope this is not going to be the last.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate Alyssa taking time out of her day to tell us all about her journey with YouTube and with developing and inventing a product. Again, this is Handbag Heels. They are removable magnetic feet for bags that don't already have purse feet. Check out her shop. It's the galesguideshop.com, which is amazing. And we're going to put this back up on the screen. So she has a lot of different variations, and I feel like you're probably going to end up coming out with more too. So maybe like you're thinking like different colors, different styles, like the possibilities are endless. Is there anything else you want to share or anything else you have coming up that's exciting?
Well, I will say I definitely am getting a lot of ideas from my followers. I think one thing I really want to do, and it's not there yet. Well, there's 2 things actually. I would like to go more international with more places to sell to. And I did get a really great idea, which I had thought of, but I need to figure out the packaging of it, is selling a la carte feet. So just
Ooh.
getting like one. So for example, I have one right here, which has 3 feet on it, but some of the bigger bags need 5 because they're so big. So it might be nice to have like an a la carte little heel that you can have the 5th heel if you want to get a 5th heel on your larger bags, or just if you wanted to get like different colors or try them in different ways, if you just wanted to have 3 instead of 4. So that's something I'm definitely thinking about. I definitely am excited for whatever is to come. I'm going to keep the wheels turning. I'm always open to feedback. So I'm really, really excited to be doing this. And I hope that there's going to be so much more.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. Guys, leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you think. Is handbags not a genius idea or what? Check out Alyssa at thegalsguideshop.com and at her YouTube channel, The Gals Guide. Thank you so much, Alyssa. This was super, super fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. And guys, on your way out, hit the like button, show us some love, and subscribe to the Sunshine Fashion Love channel. I'm Jen, and I'll see you again in the next one.